It is very comfortable back here, and then I've got all my amenities. I've got a slightly padded armrest, a cup holder, though I had to T-Rex arm it just a little to get to it. Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a 2025 Defender 130 V8. A big, powerful, thirsty, luxurious, three-row crossover vehicle from Defender that does do a great job at coddling its occupants. What has it been like to live with, and what all do you get for the money here in 2025 from Defender's biggest vehicle? The first thing I want to do is thank Defender for bringing us this Carpathian Gray 130 V8, and yes, we match because, well, there's a lot to talk about on the style of this, but let's start with the V8 under the hood. As the name implies, yes, under our gloss black bonnet, we get a 5-liter supercharged V8 making 493 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, sending that power down to all 4 wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission. And we do have an electronic active differential, so you can kind of lock it up for any off-road duty. But this being the 130, you have some compromised off-road dimensions. Another thing with this V8 is it is a bit more thirsty than that inline 6 that we've tested a couple times here on the channel already. The EPA rates it at 14 city, 19 highway, 16 combined on premium fuel, and it does have a 23.8 gallon tank, so it's going to be expensive to fill up. But as we close the bonnet, you're going to want to be seen in this because this has all those rugged, macho, boxy, off-road ready looks that the brand has been known for a while, and that are so popular here in 2025. Our particular model does have the gloss, yes, gloss Carpathian Gray metallic paint wrapped in a $5,000 matte protective film that we'll talk about momentarily. But we have the Carpathian package, which means we get the gloss black hood, gloss black swing gate in the back, and a lot of really cool accents. I've been calling this one a Darth Vader for the week that we've had it. You let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now I am bringing you in closer here to see some of the details on this Defender 130, namely the Carpathian package that we have on this one, because it does really give it a sinister look. Yes, I did say this was a gloss paint in a $5,000 matte paint protection film wrapped over top of it. And then the package gives us a contrasting black bonnet or hood that really does give it a overall very sinister look. You can see we have all LED lights across the front, LED headlights, running lights, turn signals, fog lights, all the things. But yes, the sinister look of this one, the matte gray on the gloss black, really does set this one apart. And that look continues as we pull around to the side, which includes our gloss black 22-inch wheels, which, as you can see here, have Defender stamped into them. They are a nice, big, aggressive 5-spoke design, and they are wrapped in 275/45 R22 Continental CrossContact rubber. And you can tell from the tread pattern, yes, this one isn't destined for a lot of heavy off-road use, at least the way it's currently configured. As we take a look at the full profile of this, the Defender 130 rides on the same wheelbase as the 110. All the extra length is out over the rear there, really diminishing your breakover angle. So this is a less off-road capable version of the 110, which itself is longer than the shorter 2-door 90 variant, though this is the one that you would want to get if you're hauling around a lot of people. We'll talk about that more as we get inside. But I do want to call out one last thing with this matte paint protective film. We parked this one outside where it gets dripped on by trees very regularly, and you can see it has rained while we've had this one, so we have water spots on it. I don't know, I just feel like I would have preferred the gloss Carpathian Gray to this matte protective film. I'm still forming a full opinion on it. I go back and forth. I don't know if I would really want to own something this dark and gray. You know, I like a little bit of color, but yeah, it's a paint protective film over a gloss paint. As we come back to the back, you'll really be able to see the differentiation on that when we come in close, but you can see, just like the bonnet or the hood, we have a gloss black swing gate on this one, again giving it some cool differentiation. We have the hard cover over the spare tire back here in the back, and this is the easiest way to tell the difference between the gloss and the matte paint protective film. I intentionally left this one dirty for filming here because I do have some B-roll of it clean to see exactly what it looks like when clean, and I think it absolutely works when clean. And yeah, you'll just have to stay on top of that here with this matte paint protective film on this particular one. Given that we have a V8 under the hood, we have quad exit exhaust on the corners here. And then just above them, we have two recovery hooks on the back. Another thing that sets this one apart, as the V8, we get clear lenses for the taillights, so that is a big telltale sign, if you couldn't tell by the exhaust ports down below, or the sound that this one makes, that yes, there is in fact a V8 under the hood. As we come back to the back, the 130 is a little hampered on overall cargo space. We had a 110 not that long ago, and we took it on a road trip, had plenty of room for luggage for all 5 of us on the inside. But if you're truly hauling around 7 people as this one is configured, your luggage space is going to suffer. You're going to have to get a rooftop carrier or pull a trailer or something, because you just do not have that much rear cargo space in this one. You can see we have the optional rear cargo management. We've got a rear tray back here. We've got the rear cargo cover on this one even, which you can quickly move out of the way through that way. We also have some elastic straps here where you can pull it off and completely get it out of the way. We also have a 40-20-40 split third row seat back here, which is very nice, with foldable headrests, so those get out of the way, and they do manually fold, so you can just pull that right there and they fold and get out of your way. Then you do really have a lot of cargo space, because like I said, all the additional length of the 130 is from behind the rear wheels and therefore behind the rear seats. So yes, lots of cargo space in this one. These are great emergency seats, but I'll show you exactly what they're like to sit in here briefly when I climb inside. The swing gate is nice and all, but yes, a little bit of strategic parking will need to take place if you're planning to get into the back of your Defender. And then it is very well damped, so you really had to swing it to get it closed. And yeah, I'm just gonna have to push it the last bit of the way there. It is a very heavily weighted rear swing gate, so just be prepared to push it or get your gloss black swing gate dirty. Before I climb in this one, I do just want to praise the design of the Defender 130 again. Even though we have all that additional length over the rear wheels, it still has a very cool, very rugged, very off-road ready look. And yes, I would say the biggest rival to this vehicle would be the Ineos Grenadier, which owes its existence to the fact that, well, Land Rover Defender made this a unibody vehicle versus the Grenadier's body on frame. There's a whole story there. But talking about the interior, we can talk about the key. It is your typical Defender key, Land Rover key. You can see we have lock, unlock, your warning lights, your hatch release, and a hazard button, panic button. You can deploy a physical key if you need to, but it is a proximity key, so you can, in theory, keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you keep your keys. I say in theory because this does not have a passive entry system. It is an active entry system, and you have to push this button right here. You can see that locks the doors and folds our mirrors in. You may have heard kind of the rubber squeak of that in motion from some of the seals, but then you can push it again. See, you gotta be you got to be just close enough to the vehicle with that key in your pocket to unlock the vehicle. Now, I will say it is on all 4 doors, which I really like. And while we're talking about the door handles, yet another way you can tell the matte from the gloss. So this is a gloss paint, and you can see the differentiation here between the gloss and the matte paint protective film. Just one of the choices that Defender made with this vehicle. As we open it up, we have a very dark interior to go with the very dark exterior. We do have the exterior paint highlighted around the interior. Again, this is where I would have enjoyed just a little bit more color. The last Defender we had was a 110 in Pangea green, and having that green brought inside just made it look that much better. But we get a lot of luxuries here in this one, including 3-person memory for both front seats, all your window and mirror controls here, and your door lock and unlock down there. We do have a Meridian surround sound system in this one, and quite a bit of storage in the door. Coming to the seats, 10-way adjustable with bolsters, with lumbar, all the necessary adjustments for our fully leather grained seats here that are heated and ventilated. All 4 of the front seats are heated and ventilated. So the front 2, and then the second row of 2 seats, because we have the captain's chairs on our particular model, are all heated and ventilated. Like I said, these front 2 seats have a 3-person memory. We'll go ahead and climb in this one and take a look at the interior setup. Nothing has changed across all their models, but this one is one of their most luxurious in the lineup. So we'll go ahead and push that button, allow that supercharged V8 to start up, and then we have a lot of screens staring back at us. One right here, one right here, one right here, and then we have our head-up display right there, which tells us all our pertinent information, including traffic sign recognition and various information. Now, it may be flashing for you on screen, but for me, that is not the case. It's just the differentiation in the refresh rate of that screen versus my camera. Moving down, we do have a fully digital gauge cluster. We've got the trip computer in the middle right now, and you can see, yes, fairly unimpressive numbers from the V8 here, but you can actually change what is displayed there with this D-pad right here. So you can actually pick what information is displayed through this panel, which is very nice, but I typically keep it on that information screen right there. You can also change the layout. So if you don't like the round gauges, you want one dial, you want a full screen map, your media, whatever, you can adjust it through there, all of which is very nice. Lots of controls here. You even control your head-up display brightness and adjustments and some vehicle settings through this screen. So you will be clicking around a lot with your directional pad here on the screen, but it does work rather quickly. I've got no major complaints, though I wish you could control it on the big 13+ inch touchscreen here. I just think it would be a better UI interface to be able to touch and navigate that. But before we talk about that screen, I want to talk about this one up here. We do have a rear view camera mirror that helps with overall rearward visibility. So that rear window is very far back there, and the third row of seats does have 3 headrests. I have those folded down right now, but this is definitely the better view out the back. The overall dashboard is the same across all Defender models. We have this padded upper section that serves as handholds. We've got the storage there. We've got a handle right there. We've actually got pass-through storage behind the screen here. We've got a little bit of cubby storage here, cubby storage there, another grab handle here. It all works very well. I would say of this, the Wrangler and the Bronco, this is the best dash design by far. It has those Bronco-like handles on the side, but all the additional storage up here. This one has ambient backlighting in it, so where it says Defender stamped in there, lights up. We currently have it selected to blue right now. It does give it a nice, cool look. And then we've got our air vents, a very flat style air vent design up above the dash there. Now let's move down to the infotainment screen. I'm currently filming on my phone. I'll show you how Apple CarPlay works a little bit later. But if you've been any in any Range Rover, Defender, or Discovery product, it's the same overall tiled setup here. You can pan through multiple different screens, tiles here, or you can go to your CarPlay. You can hit this button right here. It goes to all your quick access controls. You can even see your vehicle dimensions, so you can see your wheelbase, your approach, departure, breakover angle, things like that. Now, those numbers do change as our ride height changes. So we do have an adjustable air ride suspension on this. I really like how we have physical buttons right here to get to that, to change our vehicle ride height, and it works really snappy. You can see we are now in off-road ride height 2. We have much better approach departure angles here. We can also drop it all the way down to our entry access ride height, which gives us the worst driving dimensions, but it isn't really meant for driving. It's meant for slow speed and being parked, letting people in and out. So you can see, yes, we have about 7 inches of ground clearance now, but that does make it easier for people to get in and out of. Again, we'll talk about CarPlay here in a little bit. 8-speed automatic transmission. When you put it in reverse, it triggers your 360 cameras, really good 360 cameras, and you can pan around to see a lot of different views, even a virtual version of your vehicle, which I think is very cool. And then, yes, you can see out front, you can do a wide view, narrow view, all of that made it very snappy. You can also go to your off-road views. You can see that's behind us right now. But if I put it in drive, let's see, no, it doesn't go to my front camera. But then you also get your off-road controls for your locking differentials. You even have a towing view, towing mode here, all of which is very cool, works very great. That works at any speed as well, which is very welcome. You also have a quick access digital button for it right there. And then again, you can pan through all of those right there, which works very nicely. You can see we have a host of other features in this, including air quality, things like that. Moving down further, physical controls for our HVAC. You can see we have dual zone climate up front. We actually have quad zone total in this vehicle, so the second row of seats gets dual zone climate controls as well. So you have that to control, and then your heated and ventilated seats are controlled through this dial as well. So you push it, and that goes to your seat control. Push it again, that goes to your HVAC controls. I like that a lot. It works nicely. You can see both have an auto function, so you can control your fan speed, which you can also hit this button, and now this dial controls your fan speed. So it all, again, works very nicely. Your drive modes are right here, so you can see all your different drive modes built into this vehicle. There's a lot going on with these two dials, but we're just going to leave it in dynamic for right now because that's the one we're going to want to test out when we get this V8 out on the road. But yeah, very cool, very convenient. I like having physical controls right there. We also get a physical volume knob right there. Now, the last Defender we had a pass-through storage right here. Instead, we get pockets on the side. My iPad's currently in it. Then we get this deep well that is closed off, and you can close it off even more with this sliding panel tray. I like it. 2 cup holders here, Qi wireless charger here, and then a 2-stage cool box right here. So lots of storage options up front in addition to all your in-dash storage. And then we even have our glove box right here, which works fairly nicely. It is hard plastic lined, no felt in here, but that should mean it's easy to clean out if you get it dirty, which is the name of the game with this one. Again, I said this isn't the most off-road ready, but we've got all-weather floor mats in this one, and a feature that I will show you a little bit better in the back seats. Again, full leather seating surfaces, but premium cloth wrapped around the side here. I like the use of different materials in here. It just gives it a cool look, different texture, all of which I really like. Then up here, we don't have a sunglass panel, but we do have the controls for our massive panoramic glass roof. And what's very interesting is how Defender decided to split this 2 panes up here. This large panel does in fact open over that very small panel back there in the back. So yes, you get a lot of sunlight through these dual pane glass roof, but the movable section is this massive large section, and I really like where that means the split in the glass roof resides, which is further back. It gives rear seat passengers a little bit better view out the sky as well. I'll go ahead and leave that open for when we are back there, but I did want to show you the boxy shape, size, dimensions of this Defender 130. It means even me at 5'10" up front here, I've got plenty of headroom. You may or may not be able to tell, but I've actually got it in its lowest entry exit ride height right now, so it is easier to get in and out of. But coming to the back doors, we've got 2 more rows of seats to talk about in this one, including the fact that we have the optional captain's chairs here in the middle. When you opt for the captain's chairs, you get heated and ventilated captain's chairs, which is nice. But unfortunately for a family vehicle, we don't have sunshades built into these back doors. At a $136,000 price tag, I feel like that's missing just a little bit. But again, the overall nature of the Defender line of vehicles is more rugged and off-road, less on the luxury. This is the most luxurious version of their off-road vehicle. But we'll climb into the back seat now and sit behind myself. You can see I've got plenty of room, even down here for my feet. And looking at the back of the center console, we have our dual zone rear climate back here with the same controls that we see up front. So I can do ventilated seats just like that, just like we did up front, all of which is very easily controlled. You can see we can even sync it with those front seats. We do have some additional power back here, and we have some cup holders in the floor. We also have some storage on the backs of both front seats. We have some storage in the door, though not great storage in the door. And then I was talking about another feature for the off-road focused crew. And even though we have all-weather floor mats here, we have a fully rubberized floor in this one. So yes, that's right. This carpeted floor mat is just that. It pulls up out of the way, and we have a rubberized floor. So it is a nice premium look down the center here. This does latch into place, but given that you may be venturing off the beaten path in your Defender 130, you may want to be able to clean it out easily, and Defender absolutely thought of that here in this one. Talking about the sunroof up front, yes, we have a nice view, especially with the panel split being so far back, so I have a decent view out the back. Not only do I have AC vents on the back of the center console, but I get them in the ceiling as well, which works very well for us with a kid in a car seat. Would work very well for a rear-facing car seat. If you want to see a car seat install, be sure and hit subscribe so you see our family review when that drops later. Coming to me, we have stadium style seating, so I am sitting up a little higher here in the second row, but no real complaints either. We do have fold down armrests in the second row, which is a nice touch, but we are going to slide out now and talk about the third row. To get into the third row, we've got this handle right here that does slide the seat forward. You can see it isn't exactly what we call child seat friendly because, well, I can't do that with Tucker's child seat in place. So if you did have 2 child seats in the second row of this vehicle, you're going to have to climb over and through that center section to get to the rear seat. Moving to the rear seat, 40-20-40, we already talked about that. It is a split folding seat back, so that 40-20-40 does fold down. You can see we do have child seat anchors, lower anchors on the 2 outboard seats, but we do have top tethers all the way across. Since it's a manually folding rear seat, I can't power fold it or do anything from it back here. Now to climb up there, you can see I've got this pathway that I'm going to do my best to climb in and through. And yeah, that wasn't too painful. But yes, when we get back here, we have some nice luxuries back here as well. So these headrests fold out of the way for rearward visibility, but pop up in place for you to be comfortable back here. The overall seating, again, we get the perforated leather, the premium cloth, but we have heated, 3-stage heated seats back here, which is nice. We have a storage pocket there. We have an air vent in the column right here, and USB-C power, and a very nice large rear window, all of which help let in light. But that isn't the only place light is coming in. And no, I'm not talking about the back window. I'm talking about our sunlight sunroof back here in the back. We have a manual shade to cover this, so yes, if it's open, the driver is just gonna have to deal with it being open. Back here there is no driver controls for it, But yes, there is additional light. So even though we have this black on black interior, it isn't dark and cave-like even back here in the third row. Now I'm going to go ahead and slide over behind Tucker's child safety seat. And you can see it's plenty roomy. My feet are a little cramped for space because of the wheel well right here. But other than that, I would say it is very nice and roomy. My knees are not underneath my chin because the seat is not on the floor. It is fairly comfortable back here, though the headrest situation is a little bit weird. But yeah, I've got plenty of room, plenty of headroom. It is very comfortable back here. And then I've got all my amenities. I've got a slightly padded armrest, a cup holder, though I had to T-Rex arm it just a little to get to it. I've got my air vent, which is nice, my heat, all of which works very well. And then again, to get out, I have to lift up on that, but does not work with the Tucker's child seat in place. Now that we're inside, I can talk about a few annoyances I have in a vehicle with a price tag of $136,000 and some change. First of all, if you do not have the auto start stop disabled and you come to a park, you put it in park, and you take off your seatbelt, well, the vehicle turns off. So as I was getting here to set up my cameras, I did just that, just so I could reach and place this camera up, and well, it turned my vehicle off. So now I've actually got to start it back up by pushing the engine start button. It's just more wear and tear on the Supercharged V8 that I don't feel like we need. Other things in here that may be a little bit questionable we'll get to while we're in motion, but it's mostly to deal with a rattle I'm getting from the second row captain's chairs, the one right behind me. We'll talk about that momentarily, but you can see exactly what CarPlay looks like on this 13-inch screen. We do get shortcuts for the built-in system on the side, including our parking cameras and our setup button, but I really do like the new look of iOS 26 with their widget screen. It is very nice, though it is very quick and snappy all the way across, no matter what you're going through, what you're working on. Apps open quickly. It is all very nice, and yes, you can quickly get to all your screens, including your widget screen, which I like very much. Now, before we get set off in this one, I do want to thank RaceBox with their GPS race timers. It is a lap timer, 0 to 60 timer, you name it, this thing, it can measure it for your performance vehicle. And given the fact that we have a supercharged V8 under the hood, I'm very curious what this is capable of. So I'm actually going to put us in our dynamic drive mode here and let that take over. Now, I did mention we have an 8-speed automatic with real metal paddle shifters, but I'm going to let the engineers figure out when this thing should shift based on all the pre-programmed shift points in this one, and leave the metal paddle shifters alone. Now, this will be the first time I've actually flogged this one, so I am very anxious to see exactly what it is like under hard acceleration. I do know that under harder acceleration is when you actually hear that supercharger whine, but otherwise it's generally quiet. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I'm going to stand on the brake with my left foot. I'm going to turn the engine back on, stand on the accelerator with my right foot, and off we go. My goodness, this thing does pull, and it is quite loud under hard acceleration. 5.41 seconds, 0 to 60 there. I'm sure I can get better. I was a little flustered there in the situation, but 5.41 seconds with all-wheel drive in this. So yeah, I would say that's completely repeatable, especially because I didn't really hear any wheel slippage from our Continental Pro Contact tires. Yeah, that's a pretty decent number. And then let's talk about the sound. I was a little disappointed when this one showed up and I fired it up, and yeah, you kind of get a little V8 rumble. You get more back there in the back. It was, in fact, today when I was standing back there and Holly started it up that I was like, oh, so this really is a V8. I don't know. I just feel it's rather tame on the interior acoustics. Let's listen. I mean, yeah, it sounds fine. I can hear the supercharger doing a little whining action underneath the hood there in front of me. But overall, yeah, it's a tame experience. It's not super raucous. I'm guessing they want you to step up to the new Octa Defender in order to get the real crazy V8 sound performance and all that. But here in dynamic mode, yeah, I'd say it's rather snappy and rather quick to shift when you ask it to. But we're going to go ahead now and slide it back to comfort drive mode. This is where I talk about the fact that we do have that adjustable air ride suspension that has made this a real pleasure to drive in any and all circumstances I have found myself in. We have already filmed our family review, so we have taken this on the historic brick streets of downtown Tyler, Texas. And I can say, yes, it handled those streets with aplomb. As we go down the broken pavement around the lake here, there are certain areas where I know it can get very floaty in certain vehicles, and I've almost hit my head on the ceiling, though for multiple reasons, I don't think that is going to be a problem here in this Defender 130. The biggest of which being that this suspension really does soak up a lot of the imperfections in the road, and well, I just have a ton of headroom above me. All obvious things. But yes, the ride in this has been very compliant, very comfortable. Little on the floaty side, not gonna lie, but not like sickeningly so. It's not like you're gonna get seasick riding in this one. Though I guess maybe if you're riding shotgun or in the back seat and somebody is taking full advantage of the V8 behind the wheel here, yeah, you could probably get seasick. There is a little bit of body roll. I mean, there's only so much physics can overcome in a big, tall vehicle like this. Generally speaking, from the driver's seat, even while riding shotgun, I've been impressed with the overall ride quality in this Defender 130. That adaptive air ride suspension really is just oh so nice at soaking up all the imperfections in the road. And then even in comfort mode, that V8 is ready to pull and get you out of a slow or monotonous situation. Though the shifts are a little slow to react in comfort mode, the shifts themselves are super slick. I have not felt this transmission at all while we've had this. It is a very nice, slick unit that really makes this thing effortless to drive. That with all the additional power, I've really had no complaints. Here's a rough section of the road. Yeah, nothing. There'll be another one here in the corner. Yeah, nothing. This is very comfortable, very powerful, very quick. It is a very cushy, sublime ride, to be sure. And the only thing really detracting from it is, again, the noise I'm getting from the seat behind me. That kind of takes away from the fact that this is a six-figure vehicle, one of the most premium in the Defender lineup. It is just a little unfortunate that I am getting all the noise from that seat behind me, but I'm sure if somebody were sitting in it, that would not be a problem. Keep in mind too that these press vehicles are pushed to the limit, and I don't know what this particular one has been through before it got to me. Just some things to take note of if you want to go out and test drive one for yourself. Some other things I really like about the Defender 130. Overall visibility is really good. I've got these tall mirrors on the sides that really do help me see a lot all the way around me. I've got 360 cameras that can be toggled at any speed, which is very nice, and I can go back to my CarPlay very quickly and easily. I've got the camera up here, and then I've got a nice row of windows over both of my shoulders that really do help me see all the way around me very nicely. So visibility out of this Defender 130, very good, and I can be assisted by the blind spot monitors in this. There is a lot of safety and driver assistance tech baked into this, like lane keeping and such as that. You can find out more in the video description below. I have really been looking forward to getting to test the V8 offered from Defender, and I will say, while it is a little on the quiet side for my taste, it is on the powerful side, so I've got no complaints there. The calm, cushy ride in this really does give you a premium feel. Though, if I were truly being honest with you, I don't know that I would get the 130 for multiple reasons. One, we have a family of three. We don't need 3 rows of seats regularly. The 110 really fits our lifestyle a whole lot better. It fits in our garage a whole lot better. The last time we had a 130, Well, it did fit in our 1963 built 2-car garage, but we had to back in because of the spare tire back there on the back, needing a little extra room. So yes, this thing is very large. In fact, this is the largest unibody vehicle on sale in the US market. And what I mean by that is, well, it's not built like a truck. There isn't a ladder frame underneath me that the body was plopped on top of, which was a big reason why the Ineos Grenadier came into existence to begin with. The founder of that company wanted a true, real body-on-frame SUV to compete off-road and have all the off-road capability that comes with body-on-frame. But being a unibody constructed vehicle, this really is comfortable to live with day in and day out. But again, it being a 130, we have all that extra room over the rear wheels. Our rear departure angle is absolutely compromised from all that additional space. I feel like the cargo compartment is a little bit compromised behind the third row as well. So we'd have the third row folded 99% of the time anyway. And I feel like the 110 has plenty of cargo room behind its second row anyway. So I really don't feel like this fits our needs, our wishes and desires all that well. And I would really want to put some off-road tires on it. And again, the 110 is just better for off-road things because, well, it's got better departure angles above all else. The 110 also weighs a little bit less because it is smaller. But two other unibody vehicles that would rival this in overall size would be the Toyota Grand Highlander, which I feel does a better job spacing the rows of seats out and planning for people and stuff a whole lot better than this Defender 130, and then a Jeep Grand Cherokee L, which you used to be able to get a V8 in, but now they're really pushing you into that 4xe plug-in hybrid technology. And yes, that would probably be the biggest spot-on competition to this. Unibody construction, 3-row seats, luxury intention with off-road capability, though I think I would be keeping this 130 on road. Speaking of which, we are now at the end of our twisty bit of road. I'm going to leave it in comfort mode, and we're going to see exactly what this is like 0 to 60 in a couple more runs. And we're not going to brake torque it on this next one. We're just going to go from the brake pedal to the accelerator from a full stop. So coming to a complete stop, ready, set, and go. My goodness, okay. Interesting, it kind of stuttered. It realized there was a little bit of wheel slippage going on there. And yeah, it kind of stuttered. But unless my GPS didn't reset, we have an identical 5.41 0 to 60. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. We're going to turn around. We're going to give it a couple more runs because I just can't believe a completely identical 0 to 60 given the seat of the pants feel here in this one. So we are going to come to a complete stop one more time. Keep in mind we are in comfort and we are going to go. Yeah, it kind of revs into the power there. And what do we get? 5.62 without brake torquing it and putting it in comfort drive mode. I am too curious for my own good in this. We are going to try one more dynamic drive mode, brake torque acceleration. I just had to know if I can beat that 5.41 number, because I feel like this has got a little bit more to give if I just let it kind of settle into what I'm asking of it. I want to get to the level ground up here for our 0 to 60 run. Last one of the video, let's see what this thing is capable of. All right, I'm going to stand on the brake with my left foot, stand on the accelerator with my right foot, really let this thing settle in and go. That is the quickest way to get a good jump on this one. My goodness, 5.98 though. That's a little disappointing. So 5.41 was the best number I was able to get out of this one, which I guess that's fine for this big vehicle, but I just feel like we could have gotten more. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Is that disappointing to you? Would you like to see more from this? Final thoughts. In a vehicle with a $136,850 price tag, is it everything I want it to be? It's pretty darn close. We've got a lot of luxuries. 4-zone climate control, heated and ventilated front 4 seats, heated third row in this. Plenty of space, though you do have to figure out if you want that space to be used for people or stuff. Lots of amenities, lots of glass, letting in natural light into this fairly dark cabin otherwise with its black on black nature. Head-up display, great visibility, good cameras all the way around in this one. It is a very well packaged, well optioned vehicle, that is for sure. I just don't know if it is worth a $136,000 price tag without sampling the Octa trim that was just released a couple of months ago. That one really has me even more excited for that vehicle after sampling this one. This one is good for sure. This one is going to spend a majority, if not all of its time on road. This one really is set to have that school pickup line presence to it that can also go off-road and do anything that you throw at it. So I am very impressed with this one. I just don't know if this one as spec is quite right for me in my life cycle. I would rather have the V8 in the 110 model, but you sound off down in the comments below. If you want to know more from us here on the channel, you can follow along by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell. You will be notified every time a new video drops. You can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. It is all at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. Be sure and stick around. Our next video will have Holly behind the wheel here. Tucker will be back in his child safety seat, and we will show you exactly what this is like for our family of 3. I'll even put in Tucker's child safety seat back there for you to see just how easy that is. But from behind the wheel of the 2025 Defender 130 V8, until next time, gearheads, bye.